Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. I'm here to talk about the #1 best-selling free science fiction and fantasy book on Amazon today. And it's got a kick-ass woman who works as a demon patrol officer in a modern world filled with witches, vampires, and zombies. Kind of like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of thing going. But before we get to that, I have 9 other books to get through on today's top 10 list. You see, every Friday, the team here at MetaStellar reads the first few chapters of every one on the top 10 list of Amazon's free science fiction and fantasy books. And today I was helped by community members Carla Nordlund, Christina Brown, and Rommel Madre, who unfortunately couldn't make it here today. So it's just going to be me. Before we get into the books, I wanted to tell you guys about the MetaStellar Anthology, which is currently available in all the bookstores. And this is Year One, the best of MetaStellar, original and reprint science fiction and fantasy short stories that we published during our first year. Yeah, we launched in the middle of the pandemic. And we are currently working on a second anthology, and that should be out in the spring. So we're very excited about that. So let's get into it. Here is book number 10 on today's list. It is Silver Hollow by Jennifer Silverwood. It's the first of 3 books in the Borderlands saga of contemporary romance, and the other books are on sale now for $3 each, regularly $4, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited, Kindle Unlimited, if you don't know, is a plan where you pay $10 a month to Amazon, but you get all the books you can read. And a lot of books are in the Kindle Unlimited program, including a lot of bestsellers, such as the Harry Potter books. It's a fantastic deal if you read more than a couple of books a month. So Christina Brown read this one, and she says the story is about Arnie, who lost her parents and is getting ready for the funeral. And but the story actually starts with a prologue 10 years in the past. And Christina's not a big fan of prologues, and she doesn't think this one added much. But her father had a secretive past, and then Aimee receives a letter from a previously unknown uncle who lives in England, and she has her 2 friends helping her out, and a mysterious stranger who makes an appearance at the funeral. And then we fast forward 10 years into the future. Aimee thinks she hasn't done much with her life. She writes books and is an angry recluse in a small town in Texas. And then she's attacked by an assailant who stabs her in the chest. And then the man who was at the funeral 10 years ago shows up and saves her life. So Christina says that she has a hard time relating to Aimee's character. She's got a lot of anger towards society that doesn't seem justified. But she was just attacked, and there's a mystery man, and some kind of a magical, maybe, uncle in England. So she says she's going to keep reading at least another chapter or 2 to see if it pulls her in. Next, we have Legends of Dark Age Wales by Sarah Woodbury, a box set of 2 books. First, you get the first book of the 5-book The Line of Wales series. That book's called Cold My Heart. Then you get The Last Pendragon, which is the first book of the 8-book The Last Pendragon series. All the other books in each series are $1 to $3 each. And the author has been on our list before. There was a bigger box set of books from these 2 series in May of 2022 on this free list. So Cold My Heart is set in Dark Age Wales, and it's a retelling of the King Arthur legend from the point of view of 2 of his companions, Myrddin and Nell. It's the autumn in 537 AD. The people loyal to King Arthur have retreated to North Wales, where they're surrounded and are facing defeat. And then Myrddin and Nell each have a vision that Mordred's soldiers will ambush and kill King Arthur, and they have to work together to save him. And all the familiar characters are here, including Sir Gawain. And the book starts with a bang, King Arthur's death. But it turns out that the death is just a dream. It's a fake out. But it's a dream that Nell has been having since she was a girl. So it's a kind of a historical fantasy. There's romance in there. There's a little bit of magic in there. And Nell is a very strong, capable character, and the book starts really, really well. The book's point of view switches between her and Murden. He saves her from attackers, and at first she doesn't recognize him and tries to run away, but then he catches up to her and takes her with him. There's a lot at stake in the book. The characters are compelling. If I liked historical romances, I would stick with this book, but I don't, so I didn't. Next we have Ravenite by Alicia Rades, the first of 4 books in the Vengeance on Vampires urban fantasy series. I'm a big urban fantasy fan. The other 2 books are $5 each, but they're not in Kindle Unlimited. This is the second time this book has been on this list. It was on this list in December. The book starts out great. The first sentence is, vampires are easier to kill after you've pecked their eyes out. I love that. So, and the reason why the protagonist is talking about pecking their eyes out is because Rachel, that's the protagonist, she's a vampire hunter, and she talks like an old noir detective. For example, she says, I was a sucker for vampires looking for a stake through the heart. They usually found it. I love that. So she's out hunting vampires in the back alleys in the bad part of the city. She's looking for something called the Soulless, who have her sister, and she's going to keep killing vampires until she finds a lead on where they have her. And she's got super strength, and she's a shapeshifter. Looks like she can change shape to become a raven, which is why it's the whole Ravenite thing. And that's why she was talking about picking their eyes out. So somebody saves her, and the guy who saved her has his own reasons for looking for the soulless vampires, so he and Rachel decide to team up. So I like her. I can tolerate the handsome stranger guy. And I was planning to keep reading, but then the holidays got in the way, and I didn't get back to it, but I still might. I still have it on my to-read shelf. Next, we have Immoral Highlander by H.M. McQueen, the first of 6 books in the Immortal Protectors paranormal romance series. The other books are $4 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited, and I've read this one as well. And again, I'm not really a fan of these kind of books. There's a naked guy's chest on the cover, not a fan. But there's nobody else around who wanted this book, so I got stuck with it. Emma is our protagonist, and the book starts out with her in the doorway of an abandoned building in Atlanta, watching a battle in which a very handsome guy is fighting 10 huge demons. The guy is something called a protector, and he's so handsome that he's as close to an angel as you can get. So apparently in the past few years, Atlanta has become a hotbed for demons. And he's an immortal warrior trained to battle these demons. And I mean, listen how the book describes him. He has long blonde hair that flows around him like a halo, golden skin glistening in the rain as he fights, muscles bulging on his arms as he effortlessly wields his sword. Oh, and he has perfectly arched eyebrows framing his ice blue eyes, and a shallow cleft softening his strong jaw. Oh, and sensually full lips, not diminished by the snarl that remains constant as he battles the demons. Okay, so if you like that kind of thing, the book is full of it, and you will have a good time. Me, not so much. I kind of cringe when I read that. But anyway, it turns out that Emma, the woman hiding in the doorway, is one of the few humans who can see both the demons and the warriors fighting them, because she has some supernatural heritage. And this heritage, she's part dark fae. She's the warrior's mortal enemy. So she should be running away right now, but she's not. Then we switch to the warrior's point of view. And since there's 2 points of view, switching back and forth, that means they're going to get together. Oh, I hate that. Anyway, the guy's name is Cyn, C-Y-N, and he's been after he's won this battle, he's kind of like taking his time, inspecting his wound. He's giving the woman in the doorway time to run away. But she doesn't, so he walks over, and he's thinking that he should wipe her memory and be done with it. But instead, he leans in, intrigued, because he can't read her mind. He thinks she's exquisite, and his eyes linger on her lips. And he thinks about what it would feel like to kiss her. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on. Their kiss is interrupted. Her sister has been captured by the demons. She wants him to help free her sister. And then for some reason, he jumps on his motorcycle and drives away. And Emma's been looking for a week for this guy, and she's pissed that she's going to have to start over again. So she goes back to work, where she works at a bank. Okay. And she chats with a coworker about what happened. The coworker is up to date on everything. So we get a little bit of backstory. So the backstory is her sister is a big fan of the Inferno, a local nightclub for demons. And Emma's been telling her sister, don't hang out with demons. It's not going to end well. And it didn't end well. The demons kidnapped her. And they have a ransom demand. They want Emma to lure this guy Sin into a trap. So she was kind of lying when she told Sin she needed his help. Well, technically it was true, but it was kind of deceitful. So much drama. So I guess it's kind of a fun, dramatic premise, but it's really not my kind of book. I'm turned off by the glistening muscles, not caught up by the two main characters. Neither one of them seemed like a particularly nice person that I'd want to spend time with. But if you're a fan of glistening muscles and double crosses and enemies to lovers romances, this could be just your thing. Okay, next we have Mirrors and Monsters by Demelza Carlton. It's a romance and fantasy book. Second time it's been on our list. We previously reviewed it this past December. And Demelza Carlton is all over this list all the time. We've reviewed so many of her books. In the article linked down below, the article that goes with this video, I list like a bunch of them. I mean, she has had so many books on this list. People love her stuff. Carla Nordlund read this book, and she says that this isn't actually a full-length novel. It's a short story collection. And it covers several romance tropes in the fantasy and paranormal romance subgenres. And the opening story is a Beauty and the Beast retelling called Enchant, where Zuleika is a young enchantress just coming into her power after her mother's untimely death. And then when the arrogant and demanding king demands a curse from her, she creates the worst curse she can imagine. A mirror that curses the beholder to show outwardly their worst and darkest traits, extending from their physical body to their kingdom. And then this curse is delivered to King Thorn, and she's imprisoned. So Carla is guessing that Zuleika will escape and run into the beast that she cursed in this mirror. That's kind of cool. So then she skipped ahead into the middle of the book to read another story, The Gargoyle and the Archaeologist, where Maria is an archaeologist who's forced to return to her hometown in Perth after her parents' unexpected deaths. And then she runs into a huge spider web in their desolate manor house, and her screaming calls the gargoyle protector of the house. And the two of them feel an instant attraction. And there's a little sexy moment involving the Macarena. So Carla's saying that all of the 6 stories in this collection are leads in for her longer works. And she really liked the gargoyle story and had a lot of fun reading that mini romance. And she suggests that these are perfect quick reads for work or lunch break, and then you can pick and choose from your favorite tropes and subgenres, because there's 6 different stories here. So check it out. It's free. Next we have The Wanderers Odyssey by Simon Goodson, a box set of the first 3 books in the 8-book Wanderers Odyssey series. The other books are $4 each and are not in Kindle Unlimited. This is the second week in a row that this set has been on our list, and both the set and the first book in the set have been on this list before as well. And I read this and I loved it. I've read most of the books in the series, paying my own hard money for the books that weren't part of the free set. So I highly recommend it if you like space opera. So it starts out with Jess, who's born a slave, and he's used by his captors as cannon fodder. And he and a couple of other slaves are sent to investigate a mystery spaceship for booby traps. Because if anyone's going to set up a booby trap, might as well make it a slave who nobody cares about. But instead, the ship mysteriously frees them from their slave collars, and they use their ship to escape. And it turns out the ship is like super smart. It's like powered by some kind of super AI. And they go to war with the evil empire. And there's a lot of stuff that happens throughout the series. I love it. It's not a perfect series. There's places where the characters do stupid stuff for no apparent reason except because it'll make things interesting. But I don't mind. I mean, what action book doesn't have that, right? So yeah, I loved it. I couldn't stop reading. If you're a fan of that, I recommend it. And Simon, if you are watching this, get new covers made. These books are awesome and they deserve nice space opera-ish covers, okay? These are great books and the covers make them look like self-published, badly edited things, and they are not. These are excellent books. They're as good as anything else out there, and I highly recommend them. All right, next we have Shiftless by Aimee Easterling. Here you go, there's the cover. The first of 3 books in the Wolf Rampant urban fantasy series. The other books are $5 each, and they're not on Kindle Unlimited. Wow, a lot of stuff is not on Kindle Unlimited today. So again, this is the second week in a row that this book has been on our list. And the authors had other books on this list as well. So Rommel Madre read this one. And he says that the book is about a woman who decides to take the day off to visit a bookstore. She's a werewolf, and she left her home pack 10 years ago to avoid being forced into taking a mate who she doesn't want. And at the bookstore, there is another werewolf there, and she runs away, but he catches up with her in the parking lot. She's attracted to him, but she doesn't want to be his pawn or that of any other male wolf. And so there's a lot of inner turmoil there, and it makes her anxious. But somehow Chase's presence makes her feel safe. And he offers to have coffee with her, but she runs back to her apartment instead. Then she goes to track down a lost toddler at a national park. So apparently that's her job. And she finds the child in wolf form, but she's shot by somebody while she's in wolf form. And she kills the guy who shoots her, and she returns the child back to its parents. So then she goes for a hike in the woods and meets her father, and learns that her sister is dead, and that her father wants an heir, and her father wants her to convince her nephew to be the heir, or else her father will force her to return to the pack and have a child so that there's an heir. So now Rommel said he had a really hard time reading the first 3 chapters of this book because he's not familiar with this genre, and he got really confused with the pack dynamics and everything else that was going on. And he had to like fill a lot of blanks or guess at a lot of blanks as he was reading. So this kind of slowed him down and made him frustrated. But judging by his description of the book and the pack drama and everything, it's not something that I would read, but it's a really, really popular genre of speculative fiction. So if it's something that you like, well, it's free. So check it out, and you might find your new favorite author. Who knows? Next, we have Hunting Season by Kate Rudolph. The first 4 books in the Guarded by the Shifter paranormal romance series. The other books are $1 to $5 each, and again, they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And we previously reviewed this book last week, and also in December of 2021. So again, I'm prejudiced against romance books. I'm prejudiced against the naked male chests. And okay, so there's a lot of pack drama. So it's about Stasia, whose dad's new wife is 10 years younger than she is, and her dad wants her to come to a birthday party for her 9th step sibling. She'd rather not go, and she's a little sorry that she moved back to New York, where the family is too close to comfort. Also, her father is obscenely wealthy. They have a jet and a fleet of cars, and she herself has an inheritance. And then someone tries to kidnap her right in the middle of the street in broad daylight. She fights back, and the people around her help. And she works in an emergency room. So I like her. She's competent and calm and collected in a crisis. And then we get to the werewolf. So that's the next chapter. The werewolf's name is Owen. He's an army vet. His unit all got turned into werewolves and were kicked out of the army 2 years ago and started a security company. They're just getting started, so they mostly take on small bodyguarding job, and a job comes in to guard the heiress. And I actually like this, and I like both of the main characters, and I actually thought about going back and finishing it. I don't remember if I did or not, though. It's been a while since I read the beginning of this. All right, next we have Kingdoms of Sand by Daniel Arenson, a collection of the first 3 books in the Kingdom of Sand high fantasy series. Individually, the books are $3 to $5 each, and they are not in Kindle Unlimited. And this is the 3rd week in a row that this box set has been on this list. I think that's the first time that's happened in the 2.5 years we've been doing this Free Friday. So, and he's had other books on this list as well. So this is an epic fantasy that's billed as Game of Thrones meets Spartacus. The author is a USA Today bestseller, and there's a lot of characters in this book, and the story switches the point of view between all of them. There's a group of siblings who live in a kingdom that's a little like ancient Israel, and there's the evil emperor who's head of a empire that sounds a lot like Rome. They've got slaves. There's magic in this world, and the empire that's like the Roman Empire is invading the country that's like Israel. And there's a lot of intrigue and family drama and violence, lots and lots of violence. The book starts right out with Maya, a young woman with magical powers, trying to save a sick dog. And then the prince from the evil empire shows up and just kills the dog. And then her sister goes and sleeps with the prince because she thinks he's hot. And she likes the evil empire better than her own family because her mother was raped by one of those evil empire soldiers and got pregnant. And so her father is actually one of them. And she kind of likes them better than the kingdom where she grew up. And she thinks it's provincial and boring. So tons of drama and intrigue in here, lots of politics, lots of violence, very high stakes right at the front. Is this little kingdom going to survive? Is Maya too pure to live? You know, all kinds of stuff. And then her older brother is trying to keep everything together and save this kingdom. A lot of fun stuff happening. It was a little too grim for me. A little too much violence, and none of the people were sympathetic. I didn't like any of them, so I'm not going to keep reading. But if you like these kind of epic stories with lots of characters and intrigue and drama and high stakes, then this is great. This is great. Definitely pick it up while it's still free. Free books do not stay free for long, so take advantage of this while it's still up on the list. Finally, the last book on our list, Stone Cold Magic by Jayne. The first of 4 books in the Ella Gray series of urban fantasy. The other books are $4 to $5 each, but they're not in Kindle Unlimited. But I might actually have to go buy them because I love this book. So I love any book with the kick-ass leather-clad woman on the cover. This hits all the bells. The more killing, the better. So the book starts out with Ella Gray on a walk because she's trying to clear her head and she wants to go and buy some kind of magic potion to make her headaches and nightmares go away. You see, 2 weeks ago, she was clinically dead for 18 minutes. And her medical leave ends tomorrow and she's going back to work. And her job is Demon Patrol Officer. And so she'd really like to be fresh and clear-headed. And so in this world, 29 years ago, magic burst into the world and brought forth demons, vampires, and zombies. And Ella herself is a witch, but she's got weak magic and can't do anything with. She mostly relies on just like killing things the old-fashioned way. So while she's walking, she comes across a group of teenage boys bullying a girl. They're out after curfew, so she threatens to have them locked up, and they run away. She asks the girl why she's out by herself. The girl says she's looking for help. Something happened to her brother. The girl takes Ella upstairs to her apartment, and the brother's on the balcony, and he's been turned into a gargoyle. So Ella calls for help, a private consultant friend of hers, because the girl doesn't want the official cops involved, because she and her brother are both underage, and their parents are gone, so they're going to go into the system, and she doesn't want that to happen. So I like Ella, although I think she should call in the authorities. I mean, the brother might die. Why is she waffling around with private consultants and wasting time and trying to find somebody else to do this when she could just call it in and have a professional come in and give the brother the best possible chance? He's 17. He's almost old enough to take care of his sister. So they spend a year in the system. How bad can the system be? Maybe it's bad. Maybe in this world it's really bad. I'm going to keep reading to find out. All right. So have you read any of these books? Are you planning to? Let us know in the comments. Oh, and before we go, I want to thank our Patreon contributors. Those are Humphrey Price. Thank you. You're new to our list. We really appreciate your help. Mary Stoll, Alexander KOROLOV, Avery Parks, Terrence Smith, Brad Center, David Perlmutter, Samantha Bryant, Melody Friedenthal, Anastasia KOROLOV, Renee Intisar Jihad, and Amira Lutfi. Thanks, guys. We love you. We really appreciate you helping out. All the money that is donated through the Patreon goes to pay for original fiction on the MetaStellar website. And like I said, you can get it on our website, links below, or in this anthology. Link to that is below as well. So I will see you next Friday. If you don't want to miss any of these, subscribe. And we also have a newsletter that comes out every Friday, so you can get a list of all the books every Friday at 5 p.m. And the link to the newsletter is down in the description box as well. I'll see you guys all next Friday. Bye-bye.